Well, I actually came up with the idea of the book and I approached the publisher with it because I found, like in Australia, there aren't a lot of textbooks with Australian examples in them. And so this isn't by any means an Australian textbook. I sort of opened it up even more broadly to be more of an international textbook. So it has examples in there from all around the world, including America, of course. And at the end of each chapter, I've interviewed a social media professional in the field. So we've got some really big names, including like Brian Solis and Dennis Yu and Leo Morhan and people like that. You know, really big hitters. But then we also have other social media professionals from other countries. So I've managed to interview someone who works in social media from every continent, and which is really exciting just to hear what's going on in India, what's going on in places like Hong Kong and Sweden and South Africa and Mexico. Because what I've found is I've taken students on social media study tours to other countries before. So we've been to Hong Kong and India and even Vietnam. And just the level of innovation that's happening in those countries in relation to social media, we just don't really hear it very much until we go there. And so that's what I really wanted to bring out with this book, was just to share some of the great things that are actually happening there.
I just love that approach because I absolutely agree with you with the fact that social media is a global industry and profession. And it's so refreshing to see that you're taking these insights and stories. And I think students and professors, we all need to recognize that there's so many different innovations that are happening all around the world. And I mean, again, your level of understanding, your experience, and seeing it firsthand by bringing students, to countries such as Vietnam and India. I mean, what an incredible learning experience, and being able to kind of showcase that in your book is phenomenal. And I love the fact that you're interviewing professionals, because I think, it's so important to put a face, on our field. A lot of times, people are like, oh, like, maybe students are like, oh, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, but being able to show them someone that's in the field, that has a level of expertise, that is able to share their stories, and for you to be able to bring that into your book is awesome. Really.
Yeah. And I mean, what I found, there's a lot of similarities in countries across the world in terms of social, but there are also some, differences according to different cultures. So that was interesting. And the book itself, the title says, it's theory and practice. So it is very applied. There is theory in there. But then I aim to apply that so people can actually use that to apply it practically to their social media activities. And it's divided into 3 sections. So the first section is focused on strategy development. So that's everything from audience research to I've even got a chapter in there on scheduling and social media management platforms as well. So there's all sorts of things in there to help with that side of things. And then the second section is all on content curation. So how to find great content and share it for specific target audiences to provide value, but in an ethical way and in a way that's interesting. So there's a big focus on ethics and ethical practice in the book. And then the final section is on content creation. So how to write well, video production, images, graphics, memes, all that sort of stuff. But I think the final chapter is I like the chapters, but the final one is one of my favorites, where it's really focused on the profession. And the final chapter focuses on things like how to stay current and how to involve yourself and connect with other professionals in the field, but also how to look after yourself. So there's a whole focus on self-care and really looking at sort of the dangers that can come with working in this profession, because it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It's fun, yes, but there is a darker side. Things like, being overworked, feeling like you have to be connected the whole time, dealing with negativity and things like that. And so there's advice in there on how to navigate that as well, to have a really positive experience as a social media manager.
What type of class would this book be perfect for? Would it be something for the undergraduate level, graduate level, both?
Yeah, look, I've written it in a way that could work for both. And particularly even if you wanted to use particular chapters to support certain things as well. So I know some people are looking at it for their graduate classes, and then others, I mean, I'll be using it in undergraduate classes. It's not written to, the voice that I've written it in is quite accessible, I think, because I've also written it so practitioners and business owners could actually use it and refer to it as well. So I wanted the audience to be quite broad. So it's not it's an academic book, but it's not written so academically that it's difficult to understand.
Look, and you mentioned like there were certain exercises, or did you have like
Yeah.
questions? Like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, at the end of each chapter, I have things like, class discussion questions. There's other questions in there. There's activities. And there's also a list of like helpful links and further reading and things like that. So there are pedagogical features at the end of every chapter, which is really helpful. And I've been asked if there is an instructor's manual. There isn't yet, but the text has been adopted by the Indian Institute of Management. And so I think they're looking for an instructor manual, so there might be one on the way. So, if the demand's there, of course, like I can definitely do that. But there are, without having to buy something extra, there's actually pedagogical features in every chapter. So
that's awesome to have, because I mean, like if you have some of those questions or some of those exercises, you can incorporate those. Like if you're teaching an online class, if you're doing hybrid or in person, like you're able to kind of adapt. And the extra reading is also fantastic, and really awesome.
And so, and all like the tools that I mentioned and things in the chapter, there's links to those, so you can go off and explore those as well.
Nice.
And then there's a few templates in there too. So there's one, because I go through quite a robust strategy framework, and so that's all available in the appendix. There is also an editing script for video in there, and just other things like that will be helpful when actually applying it. And on those templates, I've put little directions of where to refer back into the book to learn how to actually fill those out.
That's amazing. And I think that's one of the things I hear a lot of professors, they want templates, they want resources, and to give something, that they could absolutely share within their classes and integrate into assignments. That's awesome. I love how generous you've been, with your knowledge and giving professors and students the opportunity to apply what they're learning from your book, Karen. This is amazing.